Brian, my good brother. It's Sunday night, late night on the RBC Network. You know what that means, right?
I don't know what that means. Can you please inform us?
It means we have a really fun guest joining us now. Owner, CEO, founder of Shot Shaver Golf, Frank Gargano, joins us now live
There he is.
on the potty, man.
What's up, Frank?
Good to see you guys. I feel underdressed.
Yeah.
I have to be.
Well, Frank, thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule. We know you're a busy dude. It's a privilege to have you on, and appreciate you joining tonight, man. How you been, bro?
Dude, first of all, it's an honor to be on the potty. I'm a big fan, so I'm happy to. I've been good, man. I'm blessed. All good, busy, thank God, and all good.
Yes, sir. Hey, let's jump right into it. So, also joining us in my background tonight, we got Fitness Frank too. Tell us
I just noticed that.
Tell us a little bit about Fitness Frank, man. Big fan, big fan of Shot Shaver Golf.
Bro, that is hysterical. It's good so far, though, man. I've been busting my butt. Really been trying to get on the diet more than anything. Eating right, eating enough. I'm on my feet all day.
Yes, sir.
Mainly teaching golf, so I'm probably at a calorie loss like every day, you know. Being in the gym has been solid, though. But actually, more than anything, the feedback has been great, though, in the DMs and stuff, getting good messages of people that have started it themselves, you know, and asked some questions and a bunch of good stuff. But I got a good team around me. I hired a couple trainers. I hired a swing coach, and it's been good so far, man. I'm happy you're enjoying the content, Greg. That is hysterical.
Oh, man,
right there.
Nice. Is this a general strength program, or it's specifically for golf?
It's a good question, man. It's pretty general, honestly. The workouts really aren't that many golf focused workouts, and it's kind of it's more about producing mass. Usually a lot of golf stuff is mobility and flexibility and stuff like that. But I'm looking to throw on some weight first, though, so it's kind of just straight bulking type idea, which has been good so far, though, bro.
Yeah, I was just watching that new Netflix series. I forgot the name of it. But it was Full Swing, yeah.
Full Swing.
And every single one of those guys now are on a full fitness program.
Oh,
Remember the day John Daly was drinking a 6-pack.
Yeah, smoking cigarettes
before getting on the course, and then hitting it 320, 330 yards. So,
yeah.
But now it's a different era, and I'm glad to see it. It seems like the game is evolving a lot.
Totally.
So yeah, I just want to hear your opinion on that.
Yeah, it's in a good spot, man. It's just like the thing with golf now is that athletes are playing golf, you know. So like from a younger age, these kids that, you know, might not be. I mean, I don't even know if it's that they're not making it baseball, but there's just a little bit of a different ticket golf. Like these kids from Florida, like are just specimens, you know. So like, I think athletes are getting into golf more than they did in the past, where it was kind of the dudes that couldn't do anything else, and it's like, all right, maybe I'll try and play golf. But yeah, more athletes from the lower level, and then I think people with the advances in technology now can just see how different increasing club head speed, increasing your strength in general, is going to get you hitting that little white ball further. And so like you might as well just try and do it. Bryson DeChambeau last year, I think, threw on like 50 pounds, bro, or something crazy like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Now just absolutely ripping the ball. So dudes are proving it that if you're just, you know, bigger or stronger, just like in any other sport, you're gonna have a better chance at, you know, perfecting your craft or getting close to it.
Yeah, I know personally when you use an 8-iron, 9-iron pitching wedge, it's just much easier of a golf swing. It's closer, you're closer to the green, so obviously your score is gonna go up. I see there's a lot of controversy around these people that are getting bigger and hitting the golf ball 350 yards right next to the green. But I don't see an issue with it. I mean, they've earned that. They've worked hard for it, and I feel like that's just a part of the game now.
Dude,
but do you think they're going to push the tees back?
So you know what the funny part about that, and we're going to clip this take because this should be everywhere. When you make a golf course longer, you don't. So they used to call it tiger proofing a course because Tiger would hit the ball so far that they would have to make it longer, and they would say tiger proofing. Augusta had to do that. But when you make the course longer, you don't tiger proof a golf course. You Zach Johnson proof a golf course. So like Zach Johnson is a notoriously short hitter. If you make the golf course longer, Zach Johnson's getting screwed, not Tiger. It's more of an advantage for Tiger. So I never understood how making a course longer would affect anybody but the dudes that are hitting the shortest. It makes absolutely no sense.
That's a good point.
if they wanted to Tiger proof a course or like Bryson proof a course now, you have to make it narrower. So you make the fairway way narrower, you grow the rough out crazy long so that it's more of a penalty for hitting the ball offline. Now you can't just rip,
True.
rip driver through 50. But Tiger proofing a course by making it longer was, I'm not sure who came up with that strategy.
That's interesting. I've never heard of Tiger proofing a course, but it's a good way of, kind of bringing up that other element to the game where the gameplay, the game style now changes, and thus the player has to adapt, has to change.
100%, bro. Just like any other sport, for sure.
These players in Florida. Now, when I first came to Staten Island, and I know obviously it gets cold in Staten Island, New York, when I saw your place, Shot Shaver Golf, I thought it was great because it gives guys a chance to play throughout winter. And I know down here in Florida, they can play year round.
Right.
So I know guys down here in SoFlo and Texas, these areas, they have an advantage against players that are in New York. But places like yours, I think, is a really great thing for like the Northeast place or up north where it gets cold.
Yes, sir.
Big time, bro.
Frank is a very, very, very humble dude, but I want everyone to pause right now and go visit Shot Shaver Golf on Instagram. Go book a lesson if you're interested in developing your golf game. Beginners like myself, advanced players, at all levels too, at all ages. Like you, Frank, you can speak a lot more to this too. Doesn't only do golf lessons and the facility itself has leagues, but you do custom golf simulator installations as well. Talk a little bit about that side of the business. You're a busy man. I'm surprised you're not cloned at this point.
Dude, it's that was the bread and butter to start the business. Was golf simulator installations. One time I was working at Richmond. I worked at Richmond County Country Club on Staten Island here for 5 years. I was one of the pros there for out of college.
Yes, sir.
Probably like literally in 2018, that's when Shot Shaver started. That was my first summer out of college, and a member came in. He was like, I want to put a simulator in my house. Like, does anybody know a guy to do that, or whatever it might be? And from an early age, I have a cousin that's a general contractor. He owns a that's what he does. He's a general contractor. And he owns a construction company here on Staten Island. And so then when that member came in and asked about a simulator installation, I was like, dude, that sounds like more of a project-based work. And so that's how the Sims were born. So a member asked us to do that. It turned out terrible, bro. I wrecked this guy's room so bad. It was awful. And that was our first job ever, and it was so bad. It was whack. I actually want to call him up and see if I could like save it somehow, honestly, and fix it. But it was a shot, which was dope. And then little by little, I say we too. My partner on that end of the business is my boy Mike Hunter, who's a Westerly guy. My best friend since I'm 5 years old. So it's dope to be able to work with my boy every day. And we just do these things, bro. We sell Sims, we build them out, we design them in people's rooms, in houses rather. And that's it, man. It's dope. Good way to be creative, cool way to like use your hands, and just to try and get a revenue stream outside of the actual facility.
Nice, man. I didn't know you were doing that as well. I thought you had the brick and mortar type place where you go to. I didn't know you were also installing in people's houses. So that's pretty cool.
So dope.
Yeah, that's how I got the bread, kind of like the bread together to open up the store, was through doing that. So I was doing that for a while, and then.
So tell us a little bit about if you're in the New York City tri-state area and you are now interested in simulators, you know where to go. But let's say you're a player. Let's say you're a beginner. Let's say you're advanced. Let's say you're 8 years old. Let's say you're 18 years old. Talk about the leagues. Talk about some instruction you do and how it's been working with a whole range of different ages and players.
It's been dope, man. We definitely, our kids, that's like the bread and butter at Shot Shaver. That's the backbone of our whole business. And pretty much the way it works with kids right now, I have X amount of time slots every day from 3 to about 7. That's reserved for junior golf. So the kids after school come through, and we have an awesome junior golf program, which we're blessed with. And it's just cool. The cool part about junior golf is that not only are you working on their golf game, but you have the chance to just hopefully like work on their character as much as you can too, right? As young kids.
Yes, sir.
And to see usually, the kids are in school with like female role models all day, and our women are unbelievable. But I think to have a male role model in kids' lives and stuff like that, working with them, talking with them, is a blessing too. So the golf is awesome, but to be able to like hang out with kids and spend one-on-one time like that and develop relationships at that age is awesome, man. So that's my favorite part about that. And then we have age groups all over. The other day I had 2 lessons back to back. One was with a 6-year-old, and the next one was with a 92-year-old. I gave a 92-year-old
Wow.
lesson the other day, which was
Wow.
dope. The guy came in, and I think about like the humility you have to as like a 90-year-old to still be learning, right? To like be paying to learn something is
That's
so cool.
awesome.
So he's the man. But it was like very cool example of how broad this game is too, and kind of any point in your life you could be taking it up. So ton of options instructional wise. And when it comes to the junior golf, it's cool to be able to be able to help, give your 2 cents to these kids, and helping out however you can like that.
Now, for that 92-year-old, did you have to, have him sign anything just in case, pulls a hip or, knee comes off? So, listen, you got to protect yourself first. I was just making sure.
No, I think that would be like ageism if I made him sign that, maybe.
Wow.
I don't know. But yeah,
2023 ageism. Come on, Brian.
Brian's definitely about to get canceled after this
Come on,
podcast.
Brian. You speak about the character side of athletes in general in sports, which is really cool. You even bring up their skill development, and I just came from the CYO championship weekend with basketball, and you're involved with the CYO too now, bringing kids in, and I think that's what is really cool, really special about Frank too, that not only is he a professional in his craft and can make your swing, make your approach, make your number at better, significantly better. But also it's that other component, and me and Brian on the basketball side of things, we get to taste that a little bit as well, because we get to see these kids in golf when you get a young kid versus a more experienced kid in what they have to learn. Is it more of an approach thing? Is it obvious there's a power difference and a swing difference? But where do you start with instruction?
I think when it comes to kids, that's a good question, Greg. I think it's all getting like just like basketball, like or baseball, anything else would be to make sure your fundamentals are on point. But that would be like the same even for a 50-year-old that came in too,
Right.
Where it's just like there's just like any other sport, there'd be these core things that need to be in place, before you really address anything else. For the most part, if someone was playing baseball and they were a righty and their hands were the opposite way of what they were supposed to be to get up at bat, like those are the things that have to be on point, first. And but yeah, once the fundamentals are on point, then everybody, pretty much. I guess I should say the fundamentals is how everybody really winds up being the same. Is that those have to be, on point more than anything.
What's interesting about golf too is that it's like you at 40, 50, you can't really be the same player you are in basketball, football, but in golf you can be your best version at any age. Like, what's the prime age of, let's say, a golfer? Is there a prime age?
Dang, that's another good question, bro. I would say it's like I don't even know. Probably like early.
Like what gives you the prime in golf? Like I guess another way of putting it is like, what benchmarks do you hit in
like bringing up
say, wow, he's hitting the ball.
Like bringing up a point before about like hitting the ball, as far like hitting the ball, whether like his max was 320 yards. I feel like as soon as he starts lowering down, that's where he's starting to get away from his prime. But these guys are still hitting the ball, at 35 years old, 320 yards, 330 yards. Yeah. So like their prime is continually increasing through general fitness and all these flexibility, yoga things that.
But I feel like it's that in between skill too. It's like, wow, his I'm gonna butcher all the different.
Go ahead, bro. Hit it.
But like, I feel like it's like, wow, you can drive the ball far and like that. Now it's all this in between work where it's like, damn, you got to learn the wind, you got to learn the tell us more, man. I mean,
you still do see like 45-year-olds win major championships. I know Phil Mickelson recently just won. I forget which major was it?
He did, bro. He won the PGA championship.
Yeah, not too long ago. And he's crazy. I think he's nearing 50, if I'm not wrong.
Man. Oldest ever to win a major.
Yeah. So
I was gonna say, I think to Greg's point. First of all, I gotta compliment Greg on his background, his preparation for this golf interview too, bro. Slinging golf terms, left and right. That's wild, bro. You're nailing all these. But I think prime physically is like any other sport. What is that? Probably like mid-20s or something like that. Maybe early 30s, get a little bit stronger. Yeah. Whatever it is. Obviously we're at now. We're all specimens right now, physically, as you can tell, looking around
Mhm.
this room. I mean, look behind Greg right now, bro. Fitness Frank. So it's like we're all one freak athlete to another. But the but yeah, but I think mentally, when you're in like, you see like a lot of the guys on the PGA Tour, they start having kids, a family, settle down a little bit. They start
Mhm.
balling out, because I think mentally they're in a place that's probably a little bit more stable. You're like in the early part of your careers, you're pushing a little bit. We're all kind of crazy, you know what I mean? Probably like into high school, college, early 20s, like when it comes to like really pushing a little bit too hard. You see in athletes all the time when they're first getting into it.
Right.
So I
Mhm.
think when they're getting settled in mentally in golf, that really helps the most. And then there probably hits an age where you start declining a little bit, where you can't do some of the same things, where you're probably not in your prime. So I'd probably say like when the guys like get settled down, have a family, that
Mhm.
really helps their mental usually. You know what I mean? A
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
chill.
I was saying things like when they're like their swing speed, their ball speed, things like that, like their driving distance starts to decline. I think they're getting away from their prime.
Yeah,
Like I know how important that stuff is for, just hitting a par five and getting an easier eagle opportunity, or hitting
dude.
out of those thick rough that the PGA players have to hit out of. So like when you have more power in your swing, it's easier to get out of that stuff. And I feel like at that point they're declining, but it seems like these guys, like I was saying with Phil Mickelson, he just had like a great 4 rounds. He was
Yeah,
hitting the ball accurate. He's still hitting it pretty far, but not as far as the other guys. But he just had a great round where he's just hitting it straight and able
that's it,
to
man.
stay into the competition. But there's always a chance in golf, no
Always,
matter
man.
if you're out of your prime or you're in your prime.
And it's about making putts too when it comes down to it. Like if the
Mhm.
putter's hot in golf, you're just it's gonna be what happens. You're gonna get some wins, and that's what happened to Phil for sure. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was dope with Phil.
I mean, I've had extensive experience on the mini golf course, so I like to think that I, can putt pretty well. But I got a lot of work to do. Brian actually can drive the ball pretty well. This guy lived in
Yeah.
the golf course growing up. Like he
Yeah.
lived.
Yeah. So I don't, yeah, Frank doesn't know this, but I lived next to Silver Lake Golf Course.
Yeah.
And me and my brother and my dad, we used to sneak on late at night, and they didn't care. The owners at my time, I think it was probably 2005, around that area,
Yeah.
2006.
Yeah.
They didn't care. They let us go on late at night because there's not as many people,
Wow, that's
and
pretty cool.
yeah, we would just hit balls for probably like an hour or two every single night. So
That's awesome, man.
yeah, I mean, I was blessed to be able to grow up next to a golf course and learn to swing. And now I feel like I can golf at any point because I've learned that swing at a young age. I never really lost it.
Mm. That's dude, it's the truth because it's really all a reps game. So it's like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
even if you're not playing the best, you're not playing competitively, whatever it is. Like you just getting those reps at a young age is definitely
Mhm.
going to put you at an advantage with it. We got to play some golf sometime too, bro. I got to see that T-ball.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you ever come out to Florida, bro,
Dude,
let me
maybe
know.
a potty round of
Yeah.
golf would be
I
dope.
definitely want to see
Or
Greg hit a
fly.
golf ball because I've never seen that before.
Greg would be electric on a golf course.
No, Greg can pick, I'm not, he would be able to pick it up quick because he's
Yeah,
that
yeah.
type like he's good at every sport.
And that's what I was gonna say before too, though, where it's like it's one of those things in golf where like people are like, I never got into it, I'm nervous about playing. I'm like, dude, if you're an athlete at all, like you're gonna
Hmm.
pick it up. You just need
Yeah.
hand-eye coordination, a little bit of, I guess, like the right instruction, like we talked about with the fundamentals at first. But if you're an athlete, like Greg, you'll pick it up, no problem, bro. So it's
I
you're whacking the
appreciate
ball
I
all day.
appreciate the optimism. I appreciate the words, fellas. I also bring energy too. Frank, what's your opinion on the silence during your
Mm.
approach? Are you one to say, hey, zip it, or are you kind of like, what what are your thoughts on that? Because as soon as you do hit it, it gets electric.
Yeah, it's more great journalism on your end, bro. But I think it's the way you got to think about noise is like if it's steady noise, it's not an issue at all. So like
Okay.
Mhm.
if it was just noisy the whole time, I don't think that would be an issue. It would be silence to me. The big thing that would be affecting me way more would be silence, and then right when I'm about to swing or whenever it is, something like quickly goes off. But
Someone sneezes.
dude, like whatever, like something
Don't-
random like that. That'll get you more than anything. But like usually, like if you're playing casual rounds of golf, usually it's just known that you don't really talk when someone else is going. But like if I'm playing with my boys or something like that, and there's conversations going on, like I'll swing no problem. Like so, it's just
Yeah.
like it's not noise in general, but some people are wild with it, bro. OCD.
You
So
you might hate me, but I am guilty of being when I was a young age,
yeah.
having the air horn, driving by the golf course while
Oh,
some
dude,
people are teeing
the
and blowing
worst.
the air horn.
The worst. I mean, listen, we all get a good laugh. It's great. What are we gonna do, bro? I guess we'll all suffer for your
Those teenage years, man. Listen, I've grown up and matured a lot.
It's all good, man. It's all good. We've been there. Hopefully, you messed up somebody I was playing against at that point, bro. And
a few of them cursed us out for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I bet, bro. People are wild. Yeah. But sometimes golfers need some humbling too, though. So it's honestly not the worst thing. Some guys take themselves way too seriously out there.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the fact that at any age you can be the best version of yourself as a golfer.
Totally.
Be better than other ages, no matter what that age is. So like again, like I said, a 45-year-old can be better than a 28-year-old, but
totally,
a 19-year-old could get hot.
Yeah, oh totally. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I coach a 6-year-old. No, now he's 7. A Staten Island kid, AJ Golly, but he qualified for the US Junior Worlds at North Carolina. It was dope. He did his thing. I think one of the first ever from Staten Island too, but that's all him too, bro. I met him when he was 3, and
Wow.
He's filthy, sick hand-eye, natural golfer. It doesn't come natural to a lot of people, but he's a special kid. But the gist though is that he's 7. Literally, his dad will take him out and play against his friends, like 45-year-old men. You know, and like they're literally playing a match. But AJ will just play from further up. You know what I mean? So say like if a par 4 is 400 yards,
right?
When AJ plays in a tournament, he starts in the fairway like 200 yards out. But it's all relative. It's pretty much you just have to be able to reach the green in 2 on a par 4 for it to be like where you should be playing from, you know?
Okay.
But AJ will play a match though. He'll start at his spot. They'll start at theirs, and he's straight playing against them. So like it's literally it's that crazy of a thing, you know, a 7-year-old kid playing against grown men.
Yeah.
Golf's that kind of thing though, dude. It's all skill. That's why it's a great game, man.
It really does make it a unique and special game too. And just to finish up on the noise aspect and concept of
Yes.
What do you think about like high school and college? Let's say NCAA, right? High school can get a little, but like let's say you're in the NCAAs and you're going to an opposing school. Let's say they bring a little cheering section. Like, would you be against that? Like, do they have that? Correct me if I'm wrong. Like,
they
if
don't.
You go to a basketball game, you see the oh. Can we get that at golf? Like, can we get that in the college golf game, or like is that forbidden?
I think people would just OD, bro. I think like there would be that screaming, like there would be that last second screaming, like, you know what I mean? Kids would probably just get ignorant. So it would be amazing.
Yeah, that's true.
It definitely could be, because there's galleries and tournaments. Brian, what are you thinking, bro?
I feel like, I don't know if they already do this. Do they have like an all-star type of competition in the middle of the season for golf?
No, they don't, bro.
That would be an interesting concept. Like
that is
having like some type of distraction, maybe having the other all-stars, you know, try to distract this one golfer while he's swinging.
Yeah,
you know, something funny like
wild,
that. Like,
yeah,
something to just make the game a little bit looser, like more crowd friendly.
But I think it would have to be like exhibition events. You know what I mean? Like you were saying, an all-star game or something like that. It would probably work. But Tiger's actually starting this indoor golf league next year. I'll send you guys the info on it. It's actually got to be on a simulator and like in this arena that there's like a little short game area.
Really?
Yeah, it's coming in 2024, and it's like this exhibition golf league. It's about to be wild, but pretty cool for indoor golf though, bro. It's literally going to be on a simulator. Excuse me.
Right, you can access basically any course on your simulator.
Yeah, totally, man. So you can play courses all over the world. Yeah, it's like the round to golf thing is awesome. Like Brian said before about people playing all year round now in the winter. You know, has been dope this year. And even growing up on Staten Island, there was nowhere to hit balls in the winter. Like we're all just beat.
Right.
You know, so now to be able to have this spot for the kids, like that's why I always keep bringing up the kids. It's the coolest part. Just thinking about me and my boys, like in high school, you know, just freezing at like scooping balls off the Lotterette driving range, trying to like hit balls. And so now to have a spot for the crew to come has been
man.
Cool.
Man, I drove past you one day and I saw you and I gave you a little honk, man, because I love your spot, man. A lot of people on Staten Island really, and even if you're in the New York City area, tri-state, it's not far. You come to Staten Island, but I'm sure you got eyes on other locations soon, man. But you know, one thing I do want to ask too, you know, obviously while we have you here, and we could play this too, but you have a segment. And if you follow Shot Shaver Golf on any social media, you know this segment. You know, for lack of a better term, it's don't do that.
Welcome to this week's edition of a segment I like to so eloquently refer to as don't do that.
But I love that segment because they're just short, concise things to avoid on the golf course coming from a professional like Frank. So it's always great to see. And sometimes I understand your points. Sometimes they're advanced.
Dude, I try and have it be a blend of both, where it's like the guys that are a little bit more advanced won't get bored by the content because it's like super basic and starter, you know. But then also the people that follow me that are beginners, I want them to be able to somewhat get it too. So that's always a blend. But yeah, I always tell the kids it's called "Don't do that shot," Greg, because the O or the I has the asterisk on it. So I tell them that it's "Don't do that shot." But I think it's what we were talking about before too, how it's like people just like to be spoken to like normal human beings, and like especially golf coaches just take themselves so seriously with their lingo and trying to impress people with their cool anatomy terms and stuff like that, where it's like people have to, the only way they're going to comprehend it is if it's how their boys or their like whoever talks to them. So that's the idea around that segment. So that's definitely the people like that. But the top three don'ts though,
or give us your number one that comes to mind.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think my number one is to not get discouraged by the game. I would say for a new golfer, where it's just like really embracing that it is the hardest game on earth. Like it's very, very difficult. It's very challenging, and embrace like the struggle of it at first, and let it be a humbling sport. And but don't get discouraged by it would be my number one thing, especially for someone like you, for Greg, for you just getting into it, bro. Is that no, it really doesn't come natural to anybody, and yeah, just don't get discouraged. It's a tough game. You know that going in.
The skill that comes by working with Frank a lot and really paying attention to the detail. But then there's these other elements that are controllable, which is the same.
Well, we see it a lot today with these kids because they get everything so quickly nowadays, so
Totally.
With sports, it takes years of practice and hours.
That's a great point, dude.
Yeah, so we're not getting these results right away. So that's why I think it's an important point for kids nowadays, you got to stay locked in. You have to just keep at it. Don't be, like you said, don't get discouraged.
Absolutely. That's the cool thing about this Fitness Frank series right now too, bro. Is like it's a year-long series, because everything in my mind is like I have that same ADD where if like I don't see the results in a second, I'm just out on it. So I think anything like that, anything that is important is going to take time. So especially something like learning golf, getting your body healthy, all these different things, man. It's like it's a reason why it doesn't happen overnight, not that kind of thing. And that's the beauty of it too, though, man. It's nice to do something hard,
Hey, it's not a series, it's a lifestyle.
That's Greg, actually, how it is.
I wanted to switch the topic real quick about, because this is I know this is like a newer controversy for golf.
When we come back, we have a little more heavier topics for our special guest tonight, Frank Gargano, founder and CEO of Shot Shaver Golf. Go follow them on Instagram in our 30-second break, and we'll be right back. We are back on the potty. Joining us again, Frank Gargano, the founder and CEO of Shot Shaver Golf. Go on Instagram, go shave your shot with Frank. Go book a lesson. Do you do virtual lessons, Frank, for people who aren't in the New York City tri-state area?
I do, bro. I do. It's through the Skillest app, which is an app that you can download for connects coaches to students. I do have lessons online too, bro.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Now, something that just came to mind, some controversy, I guess, surrounding professional golf nowadays is this new league that was created by Saudi Arabia and gas money.
Yes, bro. Yes.
So I know there's a huge controversy right now, and there's I wouldn't say stealing, but they're offering these professional players that maybe aren't making that much in the PGA right now, and they're taking them and bring them over, giving them a nice purse to play in their new league. I just wanted to see your opinion, because I don't know too much about it. I keep hearing bad things, but I feel like it doesn't really sound that bad to me, but I kind of want to hear your opinion on it.
Let me jump into, Frank, before you even answer that, and add to Brian's point on that. When we speak about the optics of anything, is it a geopolitical narrative that's kind of trying to be avoided because of, or is it a legitimate, no, this is a different game, this is something that's going to change golf, or like what's in there that makes it headline news?
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. I don't really know enough about the politics, and honestly, you know what I mean? But it's tough to speak on that almost. But that's the issue that a lot of people have with it, is that it is back with the Saudis. Some pretty intense stuff. So people were not happy that these guys were taking the money from LIV. It's just always tough to think about where to draw the moral line too, though, because then the the dude Greg Norman that created LIV, he brought up the fact that like, you know, the PGA Tour sponsors do business with Saudi Arabia as well too. Like everybody kind of does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like, where do you really draw the moral line when it comes down to it? Especially when it comes to, you know, playing golf for a living. So the way that the PGA Tour works is that there's no base salary. So you only get paid when you play well on the PGA Tour. And every week
you have to make the cut.
you have to make the cut. Yeah. So every week starts with like 136 golfers, something like that, say maybe 156 or something like that. And then half of them get cut after Friday. And if you get cut, you don't get paid. You don't make money that week.
Wow.
So it's kind of an intense thing, especially for guys that are just kind of starting out that don't have like big sponsors and stuff like that. So LIV offered everybody guaranteed money. So they said that even guys like Dustin Johnson, who was making bread. So it's not like LIV was just going after people that weren't making money over there. They were going after some of the PGA Tour's biggest stars. But I think they offered Dustin Johnson like $100 million from now for like a 10-year deal or something like that.
That's an NBA contract right there.
Dude, an NBA contract, and I think he's made like 60 million in his career so far. So they pretty much just said like, dude, we'll double up what you've made already at the second half of your career. And you know, these guys just get interviewed and they're like, man, it's like, I don't know, if I could just start not playing well at golf and all of a sudden I'm not making any more money because the PGA Tour is not paying me a salary like any other sport would. You know what I mean? Like if guys miss free throws in the NBA, they still get their game checked.
Yeah.
You get cut from a PGA Tour event, you're beat. And so that's kind of the big thing where I'm on the fence about, can you really bash people for taking guaranteed money? And where do you draw the moral line of like, dude, I'm also just hitting a ball around a golf course.
Right.
I get paid to play golf. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
if you're wearing Nikes on your shoes, you could be like, well, these are also made in a sweatshop in China. Like, where do you, you know what I'm saying? So when is it not a moral issue? You know,
it's a business at the end of the day. These people have families, like
totally.
And if you're not the top golfer, you're not making that much money. And you, like you said, you don't make the cut, you're not getting paid that week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like these people have families you got to think about.
Yeah.
But I always like the concept of having competition.
That's
it's going to make the PGA better because they're just going to maybe give salaries to these guys now. And
dude, and that's what's happening already. PGA Tour is changing a bunch of their events to keep their stars. You know, they're doing these no-cut events now and like crazy stuff like that. Where you know, that's what I've always been saying is that the LIV guys have been getting bashed, but they're actually going to wind up changing the PGA Tour to what it should be because there's competition for the first time ever. You know, so yeah, it's a wild thing, man. But I think both sides have pretty good arguments, you know, and I think at the end of the day, dude, these are grown men. Let them do what they're going to do. They're trying to provide for their family. Like it is what it is.
I heard that LIV is making like, so PGA is pretty much all individual besides, you know, like the Ryder Cup, things like that. But they're making team events.
Exactly, bro. It's another they are playing on a team now. So but they're just getting paid bread over there too, bro. For the team events, I think an individual prize for LIV is like $4 million an event or something. The PGA Tour plays like, I think like 1.5 million or something like that. You know, so they're just giving out these ridiculous purses, but oil money, dude, it's different. It's base salaries, especially too, because there's a minor league for golf on it's called the Corn Ferry Tour.
Really?
And that's like kind of the minors, like and 25 players from the Corn Ferry Tour every year get their PGA Tour card. They become members of the PGA Tour. And so that's a big thing. But those guys are broke, man, broke because they really don't, their purses don't pay very well. They don't have a lot of sponsors, I guess. I mean, they guess they have a decent amount of sponsors, but their purses just don't pay that well. So I think getting those guys like in the minors, so to speak, getting better contracts, guaranteed money, is huge to keeping good talent around. That would be my thing. I think I would change, paying the minors a little bit more. Just same thing, base salaries. They don't get salaries. So if they're just not making cuts, they have to like travel. They like you pay for your own travel in golf, you know, so like you're getting stuff there, you're paying for your hotel. There's not like a team to it, you know, so it's you're totally you guys are independent contractors, you know, so they cover all their stuff. So definitely base salaries on both the top level, the tour level, and the minor leagues would be good.
You actually said this, and I brought this up on the potty before, that we're not privy to seeing so much stuff going on. Stuff. I'm just gonna call it stuff because good, bad, ugly, like we're just seeing it. We're just overflowed with you know, our sensory overload is serious in 2023. So I suggested, and I know Frank, we spoke about it, disconnecting. It's hard to your business owner, it's hard to disconnect fully. What's your advice for kids watching this, or the non-athlete, the athlete struggling with a social media anxiety, or trying to fit in, or even the excess information too? Are there real solutions to disconnecting? Is that even something that's possible?
It's a good question, bro. I struggle with it, man. My screen time is crazy, crazy. It's so
Yeah, but
bad.
you're different, man. You're the entrepreneurial.
I know, but dude, I'm scrolling IG and TikTok too, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I'm definitely on my phone all day, like with getting like texts and stuff like that, like people like booking appointment, like random stuff, like with the text. But I think the only way to disconnect, bro, it sounds crazy because we're all crack addicts, literally with our phones, but you
Serious.
literally can't be in the same room as it, dude.
Serious.
So like that's like something I've been trying to do is like even like little things, bro, like getting into bed and plugging in my phone at a different spot, even in the room is cool.
Mhm.
Like, because I'll sit there before I go to bed for 50 minutes, dude. And it's just like think about what you did before you went to bed just now. It's like you stared at this tiny screen right by your face, like just getting crazy dopamine hits for even call it a half hour. And then it's like, all right, I'm about to go to bed. It's like, let me doze off while you have like these crazy clips, like you hear those trends in your head.
Bro,
It's
it's
so bad.
insane.
It's insane. But the whole world though now is an eyeball competition. That's what you have to realize. Like the world is run by your time, dude. It's all advertising, and it's just like how long can I keep your attention for?
I
So
mean,
they're crazy.
I'm an inherent hypocrite, telling people to disconnect and then me putting content out for you to consume. So,
Yeah.
so
That's crazy. But not the potty though, bro. Actually, yeah, you should listen to the potty.
I think it was Steven Spielberg, the director, who I just saw an interview. I think it's him. I gotta, before I even put this out, I gotta do the homework. But he said, "What if the UFOs, the sightings, or these civilizations that we think are alien to us are really us in the future, coming back to study our own selves, because maybe something is coming that we don't know." Super interesting perspective. But then
Wow.
it made me think, like, let's watch the average human in 2023 and let's watch the average human in 1983. You think before bed in 83 we're here? Like,
Yeah.
what?
Did they have electricity then? No, right?
No.
I think, but always the funniest part though with old heads though, dude, is when they are always bashing us for being on our phones. But if they had them, dude, they would be doing the same exact thing. And like even they're talking about their kids, like, oh, like we didn't have our kids, didn't have this stuff. It's like, bruh, if you could have handed your 4-year-old an iPad in 1967,
Yeah.
while you chain smoked cigarettes in the back room and drank liquor, like that you would have 100%. So it's just a matter of we have access.
I love it. I know Greg is always he's always saying like the bad things about it and all this. Like I shouldn't be using
Well,
it. Not necessarily the bad things, but I'm always like trying to look at the positive of it.
right.
And I
No,
feel
there's
like
Good point, bro.
I feel like
It could be a
each
tool.
generation is dealing with something.
Yes.
This generation is just dealing with this one thing, but 1980s, their generation was dealing with something. Whatever that thing was, they were still dealing with it. So now it's just a new thing that they're dealing with, and it's
It's pretty
just
cool. Like certain generations were dealing with like the Spanish flu and like everyone dying, and we're dealing with like being addicted to TikTok. It's all good. That's a good point though, Brian. There's definitely a lot of good in it though, dude. We're connected, as like you can stay
Mhm.
connected with people. You could like reach people quickly. It's never been easier to make money. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, because pretty much money comes from how connected you are. So,
Yeah.
totally, bro. There's a lot of good in it too.
Brian mentions that all the time. Like there's obvious benefits to technology. I mean, listen, I talk about where it can hold us back because I think that it is. I think that it does limit, especially young kids. Like maybe for someone like you, Frank, or you, Brian. Like maybe you can handle putting your phone somewhere for an hour or two. Like I try to at least disconnect, like you said, Frank. Leave it home, go and then go out with it. But then like you start getting that like, yo, what if I miss
Dude, you
something?
feel it buzzing, dude. I would feel it buzzing when I don't have it on me. That's the craziest thing ever.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wild. Yeah. It's very, very weird with the phones.
It's that FOMO.
It's that FOMO. Leaving it at home when you go out is a power move, though. That's such a
I
power
I
move.
I literally I've done that and I love doing it, but then there's obvious drawbacks. Like
I got to Uber home. I got to Google something. Like it's
Yeah.
just I know. It's so wild.
everything, bro. But it's like you can't survive without it now. So it's like, all right, now we have to learn how to live with it and then control it. Like Brian mentions, just just having better self-control. It can lead to that too. It can get us to a point where we are even more in control. But it's just something that is always on my mind, especially with young kids, because I see them just constantly, and I can only imagine what they're doing on their own time. I do see on your Instagram page too, and I'll be remiss if I didn't bring it up too.
Please, bro.
It says Matthew chapter 5 verse 16. What does that mean to you? Perspective to have for young kids, maybe to get into things that are healthier. So if you are going to be on your phone, download something that's informative or educational. What does that little blurb mean to you, though?
That's a good question, man. So that's my purpose for a living is my faith is being a Christian. And Matthew 5:16, I'm going to paraphrase it, but it's let your light shine in front of others that they see your good deeds and glorify your Father that is in heaven. So it's pretty much just saying that our purpose for a living is to be a light, is to show people a little bit of hope and goodness in the world. And then when they ask you about why you're wired that way, you get to give the glory to God about why you are where you are and what you're doing too. So I thought Matthew 5:16, that's a good description of what I want Shot Shaver to be, is hopefully a light to some people. And I think Brian brought up the point too about seeing the good and stuff, and people are always talking about the bad in the world and what's wrong with it. And I heard one of the best sayings ever when it was like you're talking to God specifically, where it's just like, man, what are you doing about all the bad in the world? And he answers and he says, I made you, to offset.
Wow.
So I think we have a role in instead of complaining about the bad and the bad influences, we can kind of switch narrative and shine a light, like that verse says.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're using social media to push out positive narratives and you're trying to help people and you're giving good information, good tip. Thing with social media too is that's tough, is that it only shows you things that you like. So you never it's all about the algorithm, right? They don't show you the other side of things.
That's a good point.
So you're always pushed this one narrative and they don't see the other side. So it's tough. I think that's one thing that can be fixed.
Yeah.
Right now, I think that's one negative for me that I see, is that it only pushes one narrative for 50% of the population.
And then it's just us having the wisdom too. It's like to be like, all right, they're only showing me what I want to see. Like, dude, I was so all in for the 2020 election. Like I was consumed by that. And I'm just like, dude, there's no way that like the other party could be wrong about everything and we're right about everything. Like I think that's how it's gotten to now, where it's like you have to agree on 100% of the points. And like the other side of the party in either way is completely wrong on everything. And so like that's the crazy part about it too, though, bro. And social media just pumps that, but you have to have the discernment to be like, all right, this is something that's trying to keep my attention. If I'm seeing stuff that I don't like, I'm not going to be on the app. So obviously they're going to show stuff that I agree with. But I think that discernment is a blessing, bro, as we're seeing. And like, I don't think a lot of people, I think people are just like, nah, that's reality. I'm right, you're wrong.
No, it's the culture, man. I talk about it all the time with Brian and Frank. We've had so many conversations about the culture we live in. It's a choose a side culture. It's a Knicks or Nets culture. It's a Mets or Yankees. It's a Jets or Giant culture with everything. Democrat, Republican. And if you don't pick that side, what happens is the algorithm makes you. Or it's like,
it's a good point. It's good.
Just sticking to the athlete side of things, like, and the character building and it's skill development too, but it's like hold yourself accountable. Whether you want to be a great athlete or a great person, you gotta look in the mirror. And it starts with you, man.
Totally, bro. You know what I always talk about too is like that gives you so much more control over your life. That's what I always preach to people, where it's like, if you're always blaming outside sources, that means that outside sources can have an effect on you, but if you take full accountability for everything, then you wind up getting control, because now it's like, all right, what could I have done better? But I think if you're playing the blame game every day, that's got to get so exhausting, and it has to feel so hopeless in the fact that other people's actions can have an impact on you. It doesn't, all that matters is how you react off what other people do, so that's good. Accountability is hard though, man. It takes a lot of confidence to say that, you did something wrong potentially, but all you can do is just try and help, point people there, show them that. And
I think it's one of those things like fitness, Frank, man. It's a lifestyle. It's not a overnight thing. I think it's literally, it's got to be a part of your daily. Like
it has to be, bro. Totally.
Like brushing your teeth, like being into fitness, like it.
I'm about to come roided out in June.
Really?
They don't test for that in golf, bro. I'm about to just straight go A-Rod diet.
Really? Wait, time
Yeah.
out. So you got golfers that are just juiced?
I don't think so. Probably on the PGA Tour they might be tested, cause.
Oh, okay.
But luckily at Shot Shaper Golf we don't steroid test, bro. So I'm good. I know.
Yeah, 'cause Brian would.
I know some of those long drivers have definitely done it.
Oh, 1,000%, dude. But I think they
Those-
would test those guys too. I would like, because like that would just be. But the only thing though is that you can't get too big. You know, it's like you can't come out like a boulder, or else you can't swing the clubs. You know. So,
But have you seen that one guy? He's a strictly long drive competition guy. Bro, this dude is like 280, 290. I don't know how big, but he's huge, like bodybuilder.
yeah.
And his flexibility is great too.
It's
So he's
insane.
just a
They're some of the best
monster
athletes
on
on
the team.
earth, bro. Those guys, they're insane.
Yeah.
With their body, they're wild. That's a whole different sport, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, who could hit the furthest and straightest? Pretty much, they put you on like this big grid. I guess I'll send you some links, Greg. But there's so it's a big thing, bro. Long drive.
What's the record? Anybody touching fours?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
No.
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I think the record might be around like 430, something like that, 430, 440.
Yeah, probably something like that. But then they have like the grid, like it takes crazy bounces and stuff like on that thing if you spin it the right way. So
Yeah, it's built to go as long as it can.
Oh, it counts. Yeah, it counts the roll too.
yeah, but that's still ridiculous though.
No,
bro.
it's still crazy.
The longest drive I've seen on the PGA Tour is like 330 or something. So like these dudes are.
I mean, like realistically, your ball is only rolling 20 yards.
Yeah, their balls
yards
are
max.
100.
So they're still hitting it 380, 390, and then it's rolling.
I compare it to just like ridiculous hops in basketball because am I a fan of dunking and alley oops? Yeah, like who's not gonna love smacking the ball 9,000 million yards? But at the same time, I love the in between game of golf. I really fell in love with putting. I was a master mini golfer as a kid, and I really it's these nuances. It's really the nuances of sport that get glossed over in 2023 because you got guys smacking the ball a million yards, but that little in between game. I love that, like, wow, that backspin, or like, damn, that was impressive. Brian loves the new generation of molding this super monster athlete that just crushes and is out there to crush.
I love it too, bro. I want to see some dude that's 7'10".
I love combining like that 80s, 90s mentality with today's mentality. I love like combining that and just like Greg was saying, like create a monster, like almost like Bryson DeChambeau for golf.
Right, yeah. Oh, totally.
Like he's like the new era type of golfer where I think he did one of those long drive competitions too.
Yeah, he did.
I think he came in second.
Yeah, he did. He did well in it. It's crazy.
So I would love to see more guys like that come on the tour, just like monsters. Like
it's so true. That'd be
sick. They better be able to putt though, because I'm watching. But listen, on the potty here before we conclude and before we let Frank leave, because I know he's a busy dude and we appreciate you again stopping by. But on the potty, we like to finish up our last segment with the last wipe. So we wipe the slate clean, and we really want to hear your opinion on OpenAI and this new technology based world we're moving into. Okay, so let me ask you this: if they found out a technology that allowed you to live for 370 plus years, because I got friends who would say, nope, 88, I'm good. Like, are you one of those guys that say, hey, whoa, 450, but I can be like a 33-year-old, like, or like a 28 or like a 42-year-old prime? Like, are you someone that's extending? You want to talk biblical? We can get up in the ages of the biblical history, and there's rumors that alien civilizations have capabilities 300 plus years. Where's your opinion on the last wipe? Where's your opinion on the last wipe? Are you someone that says, hey, technology, bring me to 500 years old, or you know what, 88's fine? Like, I got a lot of friends everywhere.
Yeah, totally, man. I'm trying to go home, bro. I'm trying to go home, hang out with Jesus for the rest of my life. I'm good. Whatever it takes, bro. I don't think I'm not trying to live till 500. This world is crazy. But I think
500.
But yeah, I think if you start messing around with like when you die and things like that, but then I mean it's tough though, man. It's like you're also affecting that with your diet and stuff too. So you of course have an input on how long you live, but to extend it out to 500, that'd be rough, bro. I'm good, man. I think, but then and to answer your other question too, though, man, about Chat GTP.
Yeah.
Is it TP or PT? Chat GTP.
Chat GPT.
GPT.
Yeah, I think it's just like that stuff is scary where I think you can start messing around. Like you're not going to really have to figure out what reality is, you know, and like you see a clip of somebody and it's like, oh, that might be fake though. That might just be AI on that person's face. Like that's the part that I think is just going to get way too confusing. But then I also think about the youth too, though. Again, man, that's who I think it's going to affect the most. Is like there's something about needing the focus to sit down and write a paper that sucked in the moment. It was terrible. But now I think we're starting to realize just like the effects of that is just like your attention span and like you had to do it and you had to be disciplined and sit there and like write it and figure it out and be creative, you know? And it's like, if robots are just writing your stuff, bro, it's like, we're just going to literally have potatoes of humans, I think. Right. And I think they're going to be smart too. Like they might, like kids nowadays are filthy on computers and I get it. Like they're pretty smart, but I don't know. That's got to affect us down the road sometime too, right? 12, 13-year-olds just not doing homework, not thinking creatively, like just pressing a button, like can't be good.
So I actually saw something today. There's another AI system that can check for that.
There is? Okay, cool.
Yeah, so they can't, like the teacher can just input their essay into this system and it will say, oh no, like 75% of this was created by AI. Like,
oh,
wow.
dude, see, like that's it. So then I think, because then I think you still get the benefits. Then I think you get the benefits of like, you know, it could write. I mean, there's also gonna be a lot of people losing jobs too, bro. I saw this crazy thing. This girl posted a TikTok, and it was like ChatGPT doing a thing of creating a diet for a person with like X illness or something like that.
Right.
They create the diet, the plan, the grocery list. And a girl's like a dietitian in her last year of school. She's like, dude, that thing literally just did my degree in a second. So
that's crazy.
You know, that's got to just kind of be so deflating to see, dude. I'm thankful about golf. You guys as podcast hosts, you know what I mean? Like GPT can't ever host a podcast, I don't think. You know, at least not with the Poddy. But so I think our careers right now, because I know that you guys are podcast hosts full time. That's your career. But yeah, it's good, man. I think we're safe.
Yeah, that creative side will always be alive and well.
What if Frank, you're a young dude, man. What if, 20 years go by and someone says, Frank, you need an extra hand? Yeah, I can use a nice employee. No. I can make you help yourself. It's like, how do you do that? And we got two Franks.
You know my answer to that, bro. I'm not in with that cloning.
Well, if there's anyone to clone, if there's anyone to clone, Frank, we would need another couple. I'll take a couple shot shavers.
I appreciate it, bro.
I'm good off that. I've seen too many movies, man. I'm not.
Yeah, I've seen too many. I robot in general. That's just, I'm done. No clones there still, bro.
I would be scared if something went wrong with a Brian clone. Yo, that's a movie.
That is a movie.
Frank, we want to thank you one more time just for joining the party, taking your time and you're welcome anytime. Make sure you're going on social media, Shot Shaver Golf, and you're looking at all the things that Shot Shaver does for the community, for the athlete, and follow along Fitness Frank's series as well. We got them right here too. We got two guests, bro.
Dude, the edits on the Poddy are crazy, bro. Like the clips are really entertaining. I know that takes time to do that and like sit there.
Network, man.
Dude, the network is killing it. Seriously, bro, I'm a fan. I'm dying at the clips all the time.
Check them out. Staten Island, New York. If you're in the New York City area, tri-state area at all, man, get with this guy. Even if you're not from around this proximity, there's online options for you. Frank Gargano, the founder and CEO of Shot Shaver Golf, joined the Poddy tonight. Legendary.
Thanks to the pod, RBC Network, the boys having me on, bro. You guys are killing it. I'm big fans of the Poddy. And yeah, I think that's it from a golf standpoint. Just start playing, just to have time with loved ones. I always say it too. Like the cool thing about golf is that we don't have many reasons that you have to be with somebody for 4 or 5 hours at a time anymore. And with golf, you really get a lot of quality time with with people that you love and want to hang out with. So that's a cool reason to get into it too. Is just being outside, hanging with your crew, and it's a good.
So true.
So hop into it. Shot Shaver Golf, if you're local on Staten Island, definitely come out and see us for sure. And that's it, fellas. I appreciate you guys. God bless you, man. I'm praying for you guys always.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
If you do go to Shot Shaver Golf facility, right, use the promo code RBC Network, and you're gonna get a free ginger ale.
Can you get up my face? I'm on the Poddy.
Where the party at? Where the party at? Where the party at? You know I can't forget to wash my hands.
Action.